Okay, so in the last session, we just created journal and we inquired the balances. And after creating the journal, we posted. If you don't post the journal, the balances cannot be updated in the system against the accounts. Against which account you are entering the amounts, those amounts won't reflect for those same accounts. For that reason, it's a mandatory we have to post the journal. So after that, we discussed about multi-org structure. So whatever you could see here, this would be the standard multi-org structure. So in the top level, we'll have a business group, BZ we call, and primary ledger. Under primary ledger, we'll have a legal entity. Under legal entity, operating unit. Under operating unit, we'll have a inventory organizations. How many we can have, that completely depends on how they are operating the business and where they are operating the business. Okay, there are many points to be considered. We discussed to decide number of business rows, we have to look at in how many countries they are operating the business. For each country, we'll go with one business group. With the help of business group, we can maintain the employees information. And primary ledger, minimum one primary ledger for each country. So you can have more than one primary ledger also in the same country. For that, we taken the simple example here, as there may be multiple businesses the company might be doing in that case. So based on the vertical of business, okay, vertical based on the different businesses how they are operating. So what are the information they want to capture? Depending on that, they may have a requirement of segments. So that segments, when you say segments, those can be managed with a chart of accounts. If company has a different chart of accounts for different businesses, that will result to have a multiple primary ledgers within one country also. And when I talk about legal entities, for each registration we have to go with one legal entity. And operating units, how they are operating their business, how many branches they have, okay, now how many locations they are running. Depending on these parameters, we can decide the operating units. When we talk about primary ledger, that is the one which we can use to record the business transaction. Legal entity, every transaction should be tracked with the legal entity specification, so that based on that information the legal reporting takes place. Operating unit, the actual transaction, the actual business transactions with more segregation and security and data control, we can record with the help of operating unit only. And warehouse management, you can manage with the concept called as inventory organization, which we call as IO. Okay, so if you have a five, just here we taken the example, if you have five warehouses in the system in our Oracle application, we have to create six inventory organizations. The five are real inventory organizations which you see in the business. You have to create one additional inventory organization which we call as virtual inventory. And finally we have to create six. Why we have to go with one additional inventory organization, how that would be helping in the system process, we'll be discussing once we get into inventory organization creation. Okay, so these are the few points we have to understand. And one more point here, so just the short names we have as BZ, PL, LE, OU and inventory organization. Fine. So now the same I just taken here. So which applications can be managed? We have many applications which we discussed as a part of P2P and O2C cycle. Apart from that, there are many other applications. We have close to 300 applications from Oracle. So we'll talk about few applications. Which application can be mapped? When you talk about BZ, what is the purpose of BZ? What is the purpose of BZ? We'll have as a part of multi-org structure. To
manage the people.
Information storing, recording like that.
Yes. To maintain the employees' information. To maintain the employees' information, we have an application called as HRMS. We have HRMS application. By using HRMS application, we can maintain the employees' information. With the help of HRMS application, when we are going to maintain the employees information as per multi-org structure, okay, you have to maintain that HRMS application at BZ level. Okay, we'll maintain the HRMS application at BZ level as per multi-org structure. That means we'll create the BZ. Through that BZ, we'll be utilizing HRMS application to maintain the employee information. Finally, you can say with the help of business group, you can maintain the employees information by using which application? HRMS. The same way, when you talk about primary ledger, where we created primary ledger, we already created primary ledger. Where we
In
created primary
GL.
ledger? In GL. So the primary ledger, the general ledger application will be maintained as per multi-org at primary ledger level. Okay, the general ledger application will be managed at primary ledger level. Along with that, we'll be maintaining FA also. In financial applications, we have fixed assets. So the primary ledger level, as per multi-org structure, so under BZ we'll get primary ledger. The primary ledger level only we can maintain general ledger application as well as FA, fixed assets. As per multi-org structure, primary ledger level, which modules can be mapped or can be managed. Okay, the modules are general ledger and fixed assets. And legal entity level, the LE level, what modules we can manage. So the legal entry level you can manage CM, cash management, or say C, cash entry system, both are same. You can call as CM or C, cash management application. The operating unit level, most of the applications will be managed at operating unit level. Okay, AP, AR, PO, OM, and many other applications. Okay, many other applications can be managed at OU level. So the actual real business transactions will be recording within, okay, these APR, POOM based on the respective department related activities. Those all the applications will be maintaining OU specific. Okay, OU specific. Say you have an operating unit in Hyderabad. In Hyderabad, you'll have a definitely payables department. You may have a receivables department. You may have a purchasing department. You may have a order management department, sales department. So, what are the departments you have in Hyderabad operating unit? For each department, you'll have a specific application. So that means in particular operating unit level, you are going to perform all these key business transactions, which may falls into different cycles. It could be P2P or O2C. So all these applications, APR, PO, OM, these applications will maintain at OU level. And coming to inventory organization level, we'll maintain the inventory, INV, inventory application. Then we have some other manufacturing applications also called as BOM, WIP. There are many other applications. BOM means bills of material. Okay, bills of material, and WIP means work in process. So these are some manufacturing applications. This you can ignore from our understanding, not required. Okay, just take simple example as inventory application can be managed at inventory organization level. So this is a standard multi-org structure. Okay, when you look at the multi-org structure, other side, when you look at our applications which we are going to use in the system process, so those applications will be standing, or those applications will be mapped at what level. So these are the levels. Just try to remember these points. Don't try to understand more detail level, we cannot understand now. Once we get into the application, once you start working on the process, whatever the point we are discussing now, you will be able to connect. Okay, for now, even if you don't get meaning here, just try to remember. Try to remember BZ level HRMS, primary ledger level GL and FA, and LE level cash management, OU level APR, POOM, and inventory organization level inventory, and other applications we have as a BOM and WIP applications also. Okay, this is how just we can map different applications, the different levels when you consider multi-org structure. Okay, fine. Now the point is, what level you can generate the reports. Anyone please tell me what level you can generate the reports by looking at multi-org structure, but not by looking at applications? What levels? What level?
OU.
Exactly. That is
OU.
yes, correct. So that is a place where you will be performing the real business transactions. So you have a 10 branches. For 10 branches, you can have 10 operating nets. Branch wise, you have to prepare the reporting. Branch wise, you will be performing the business transactions. So the reporting, the financial reports will be creating OU level. So whatever the OU level means, these are the modules. Already discussed as a part of P2P and O2C cycles, will record the transactions and subledger applications. Means other than GL, all applications are subledger. All those applications will be transferring to which application? All those applications transaction data will be transferring to which application?
General ledger.
General ledger. General ledger. So which data we are transferring to general ledger? OU specific data. Say you are using AP. AP will be maintained at OU level. That means when you are recording the transaction account in accounts payables, you have to represent specific OU. The purchase invoices belongs to which OU. The payment is belongs to which OU. Or else the sales invoices belongs to which OU, and the customer payment. The receipt is belongs to which OU. The purchase orders belongs to which OU. The receipt is belongs to which OU. The sales orders belongs to which OU. That's how with the specification will be creating the transaction at OU level. Finally, all the information from these different applications will be sending to GL. When you are sending to GL, so within the GL, the data, complete data will be holded by primary ledger. Okay, so we discussed earlier by using the GL we can prepare the financial reports. Yes, the place is GL. Within the GL we can create the financial reports, but the actual data we are getting from subledger application. The data can be created and maintained, okay, OU specific. Okay, when you send the data to GL, the data you can see OU specific only. So with that, that is a meaning what we are trying to understand. The OU level you can prepare the reports. The OU specific data, I'll record the transaction for OU1, one purchase invoice, or say purchase invoice for OU1 and purchase invoice for OU2. These two I'll be sending to GL. In GL you could see for invoice for OU1 and OU2. Not exactly with the operating unit name, there will be some other representation that will be understanding. So the point here is what level we prepare the financial reports means OU level, but where we prepare the place is general ledger. So OU specific data will be sending to general ledger. Within the general ledger application will be preparing the reports. This is the point we have to understand. Okay, so why these are all the applications are mapped in the different levels. Going forward we'll understand once we get into the process. So you will be able to connect to these points. For now, just remember these points. Don't try to understand, okay? Because we have to see the reality, then only you can understand what exactly we are trying to understand here. Okay, so just remember these points. What level, which application? Okay, very soon we'll get a clarification on this point by seeing the reality in the system process. So any questions here, please? Fine. So this is how just you can manage multi-arc structure. Okay, now we'll go with a simple example. Say for example, we'll take case as say client is doing the business in India. I'm taking the country, business is in India. Client is operating the business in India, and say within India they are running three businesses. Okay, three businesses they're running, and for each business they have a separate registration. That means three LEs they have, and say they're running the business in the five locations, and they have say 6 inventories, warehouses. Okay, client is running the business in India. We'll go with this simple example. They are doing the 3 different type of businesses, and for each business they have a separate registration. That means 3 legal entities they have. 3 separate registration with 3 legal entities, and I'll write as a registrations. 3 businesses and 3 separate registrations. How many locations they are running the business? Say 5 locations and 6 inventories they have. Okay, so based on this, you tell me how many BGs we required, primary ledgers required, LEs and OUs and inventory organizations. Any one, please tell me. Any one. I don't need some common answer. Just anyone who got clarity on this concept, they can just answer to this question.
One business group.
Why?
We are running that business in India, so that's why.
Okay, only business your client
One
is
business
in
group.
India. So one business group would be enough. Okay.
Yes.
Why?
And
I mean,
one prime.
one second. Why should not we go with the 2 business groups?
If different kinds of businesses running in India, so we will take it.
No, not required. That is the point. Okay. So the point is, in one country,
Currency.
yeah,
One currency.
So,
only one currency, and payroll statutory process also will be same.
yes, correct.
Since these will be common, there won't be any need of going with a different. It's not depending on how many businesses you are doing. Okay, how many countries we are doing. That is the element. Okay, within one country, everything remains same. The payroll statutory process or currency, that would be same. So there won't be any need. No need to go with. There is no element which can makes the difference to go with more than one. Yeah, fine. So one BZ, because one country, within one country, there won't be any need. There won't be any requirement to go with a multiple business groups. Fine. Yeah, they are doing 3 businesses. Then please go ahead. Look at the
3
multi.
primary ledgers.
Explain based on that. Tell me the possibilities.
Sorry.
No, just look at the multi-org structure and take this information. Just give me the possibilities. How many and why? Okay,
The
BZ.
primary ledger depends.
No. Just I
Okay.
requested it should not be some common answer. I think somebody is just explaining. I think Jay Prakash. You can go ahead with that. Your answer, Jay Prakash or somebody, please.
Yeah. One BZ enough for this business,
Okay.
and 3 PL primary ledgers.
3 businesses.
Yes.
My question is why 3 primary ledgers are required?
Because different businesses were doing, so that's why.
Different businesses. In how many countries they are doing?
India only, one country.
Do you require 3 primary ledgers?
So if it is clarification purpose, we will prepare like that.
No. Clarification purpose not. I am asking the possibilities. What are the chances?
One primary ledger is enough,
Hmm?
and 3 legal entities, 5 operating units.
No, one second. Here you should come up with your understanding. So 3 businesses are doing. You can say simple point. If the 3 businesses are going to use same chart of accounts, 1 primary ledger. If 3 businesses are going to use different chart of accounts, 3
Primary ledgers.
primary ledgers. If 2 businesses are going to use same chart of account and 1 business is going to use different, then
1 is enough.
come on here. I'm just giving the clear point. If 2 businesses are going to use one chart of account and 1 business is going to use different chart of account, then how many chart of accounts total?
2.
2. That means 2 primary ledgers.
Yes.
Okay. So everything will be decided based on how they are going to manage. So now the possibilities are, it could be 1 if you consider 3 businesses are going to use same chart of account, and you can have a 3 primary ledgers if every business is going to have a different chart of account, and you can have a 2 primary ledgers if any out of these 3 any 2 businesses are going to use same and another business is going to have a different chart of accounts. In that case, 2
Okay.
primary ledgers. Done. Okay, fine. The
Okay.
third point, 3 registrations.
3 legal entities.
That's it. There is no other point to discuss and understand. Okay, just simple
Okay.
point, 3 registrations. In case of 3,
3 legal
go with the
entities.
3 legal. That's it. Each registration will maintain as a separate legal entity. The 5 locations.
Yes, 5 operating units.
5 operating units. Okay. Here I'll just bring one more additional point. That statement is correct. 5 locations, 5
5
operating
operating
units.
units.
Why for 5 locations, 5 operating units we require? Please answer to that.
Branch wise, we want to check it, so that's why we'll create 5 operating units.
Branch wise,
We want to see that report, so that's why
you want
we
to.
will create 5.
Your statement is correct. The point here is, as we discussed, the branch wise or say location wise, you want to maintain the data separately. That is also very important point which
Yes.
you have to include. Branch wise, you have to maintain the data separately. Even by creating one operating unit also, you can maintain the 5 locations data. Possible. But you want to maintain separately. That is a very important point. So location wise, the business transactions you want to maintain separately, and you have to keep security between that transactions which you are performing across those 5 locations, and the locations wise you want to generate the reports. These are very important points. You want to maintain the data separately for 5 locations, and you want to prepare the reports separately for 5 locations, and you want to have a security. You don't want to allow one location business people to see another location business data. These 3 points just very important, just consider. Now I'll come up with some different example. Okay, your statement is correct. That's what we discussed. If you don't mind, you can mute from your end, everyone. We could hear some noise sometimes. Even who are answering also, once you done from your end, just with your answer, when I start talking about something, meantime you can keep on mute and you can unmute and you can start speaking, or you can start answering, or you can raise your questions. Please take as a request. Fine. Done. Now the point is, yes, 5 locations, yes, 5 operating net. Okay, even if you have a 5 locations, you may not require 5 operating nets. That completely depends on business. Say for example, the 5 locations I'm going to take: Hyderabad, Bangalore, Delhi, okay, Pune and Mumbai. So say a client is operating the business in these 5 locations. Now if client is going to say, in these 5 locations whatever the business we are doing, we want to maintain the data separately, and we want to have a security for the data separately, and we want to prepare the reports separately where will be able to track the expense and the revenues and finally the profitability. In that scenario, we'll go with the 5 locations, each location one separate operating unit. Now say client is saying, yes, we are running the business in 5 locations, but reality what we do is we never bother about, okay, how much business we are doing in Hyderabad and Bangalore. The Hyderabad and Bangalore business will be treating as a only one operation. We don't want to maintain any data separately, what transactions are taking place in Hyderabad and what business transactions are resulting in Bangalore. The Hyderabad and Bangalore will be treating as a common entity of the business. We'll be treating common. We don't want to prepare the report separately for Hyderabad and Bangalore. Always what we do is we'll be clubbing Hyderabad and Bangalore business, and even will be spending the expense commonly, and will be finding the revenue commonly. And again, we don't have any requirement of finding about the profitability or expense the Hyderabad and Bangalore separately. If that is a requirement, so what point will decide to go with the separate operating unit? Those points they are going to ignore here. Data segregation is required between Hyderabad and Bangalore? No. Data security is required? No. Reporting is required separately? No. In that case, you can create for Hyderabad and Bangalore one operating unit only. So if Hyderabad or Bangalore business are going to record any transaction, they will be selecting the same business unit, sorry, operating unit. Okay, operating unit. You may create as HYD BAN operating unit. You may name like this. So you are not going to maintain the data separately. Even you are running the business, even you are doing the business operations in the different locations. So this is how you can decide, okay, whether you have to go with separate operating unit for each location or one operating unit for this different. Okay, this is how you can do. Again, by going with one operating unit for Hyderabad and Bangalore, still there is a possibility to maintain the data separately. That I'll be explaining. For now, take this point. Okay, you can take as this is additional point. If you have 5 locations, for each location by default, normally the normal best practice every company follows is they'll go with the 5 operating units. But there is a possibility if they don't have any requirement of segregating the data and preparing the report separately, and if they don't need data security, they can go with one operating unit for 2 or multiple locations business also. Okay, this is another point. Done. That's all about operating unit. So how many inventory organizations we have to create in the system? How many inventory organizations?
7.
6 plus 1.
6 plus 1.
6 are physical inventories. That means real inventories which you can go and see in their business. 6 warehouses they have. 6 inventories we have to create, and along with that you have to create one more inventory
Virtual.
which is virtual, which is required in the system process, not in the real business. Okay, the virtual one is required in the system process. Why will be understanding. Okay, so these are the few points to understand. Okay, fine, done. Now if you take this case, just take the information into some simple flow diagram here. So here you can say how many business groups you require. Only one business group. Okay, say one business group. 1 second. One business group. Under that business group, how many registrations they have? 3 registrations. So 3 legal entities required, and before that legal entities, so there is a possibility they can have only one primary ledger or 3, but ideally it would be one only. Most of the companies you can see, if you go with a multiple primary ledgers, there will be big task for them in terms of opening and closing the periods and sharing the data between those ledgers. The general practice would be in one country will go with one primary ledger until unless there is strong requirement of maintaining the separate chart of accounts for each and every business. So under business group we are going to have one primary ledger. I'll be writing the names bit later. Just let me put this, there's some skeleton information. Okay, so treat this as a business group. This is going to be primary ledger. Under that primary ledger, how many legal entities we are going to have? 3 registrations, 3 legal entities. So now here you have to keep 3 small boxes. Okay, so 1, okay, so say it's a one more legal entity and third legal entity. We'll just finally take into the flow diagram here. Fine, done. So 3 registrations, yes, we take it. They are operating the business in 5 locations. When they are operating the business in 5 locations, these 5 locations business will falls under specific legal entity, right? Say by following the first registration, they are doing the business in Hyderabad and Bangalore. So this is the first registration, first legal entity. Under that, say they will be doing. Say they have a 2 operating units. So say 2 operating units. And total 5 operating units, 2 under one primary, one LE. And under second registration, say they are doing the business only in Delhi. So here for Delhi, I'll create here just one box to specify that as a Delhi operating unit. And say with the third registration, they are running the business in Pune and Mumbai. I'll just put 2 small boxes for 2 operating units. Done. Now, how many inventory organizations they have? 6. So the 6 will be specifying here, but reality will be creating one more, that is a virtual. The virtual one we don't maintain under any operating unit. That would be virtual for system process. But the reality, how many you have, those will be representing under specific operating unit. Here we got total 5 operating units. Say to support this first operating unit, we'll write the names. Just let's wait for some time. To support these 5, let's treat as operating units. To support these 5 operating units, so we have a 6 inventory organization. You can take the point as to support this operating unit. We have 1 inventory organization. Okay, we have 1 inventory organization. To support this operating unit, we have 1 inventory organization. And to support this operating unit, say you have a 2 in sorry, 2 inventory organizations. Okay, total already we specified 4 inventory organizations. Total we have 6. And to support, and say for this operating unit, no inventory. To support this 5th operating unit, we have 2 inventories. Total 6 we have. Now for this operating unit, no inventory. We'll just write the names and we'll address the hierarchy. We'll see how that this scenario, this case looks like as a multi-org structure. So the BZ business group. So here you can write the names here. I'll say this is going to be, say, ARP3 India business group. Okay, ARP3 India business group. Fine. Under that business group, you have 1 primary ledger. So you have just 1 primary ledger. Under business group, we have a primary ledger, so that you can write here. The primary ledger name is ARP3 India primary ledger. Okay. Under that primary ledger, you have 3 legal entities. You have 3 legal entities. Fine. So that I'll just represent here. So reality, when you are doing the implementation, we'll be doing this kind of designing by using MS Visio. Microsoft Visio will do this. When here just simple understanding, let's go with this kind of representation. So now 3 legal entities. So Yeah, three businesses. Just I'll write the name as LE1, LE2, LE3. Simple. For three businesses, three LEs. Okay, I'll say LE1, LE2. Reality will be giving the exact name. With what name you have a registration, but here simply just I'm mentioning with a number. Done. So under first legal entity, we have two operating units. Okay, under first legal entity, we have two operating units. So here I'll say under this legal entity, okay, we have two operating units. So it's a OU1, or you can write exact name. Since we have this very small box representation, I'll say OU1. That you can say Hyderabad OU and Bangalore OU. So just say Hyderabad OU and say Bangalore OU operating unit. And under LE2, you have only one operating unit. Okay, just say have only one operating unit. That is say here as we discussed, so Delhi operating unit. And you have LE3. Under LE3, with these registrations, you are running the business in two locations. Those are Pune and Mumbai. So that you can represent here. So under this registration, we got two operating units. We are running the two business in two different locations, which we are treating as two operating units. So those names you can take here are Pune operating unit, and this is going to be Mumbai operating unit. So for Hyderabad operating unit, we have say only one inventory automation. So for Hyderabad, under Hyderabad operating unit, to support Hyderabad business operations, we have only one warehouse. So that you can call as HYD inventory. And to support Bangalore also, say we have only one warehouse. You can have a number of, but we are taking this simple case. So you have a Bangalore INV. Fine. And for Delhi, for one operating unit, you have a two warehouses. Okay. For one operating unit, you can have multiple inventory automations. So that you can represent here under Delhi operating unit. Okay. Under Delhi operating unit, we have two warehouses. Those you can say Delhi INV1. Okay. And say Delhi INV1, and the other one you can say for Delhi INV2. And for this Pune, you don't have any inventory. No. When you say no inventory, because that operating unit may be involving only services. If you are doing some sort of services, okay, there we don't need any inventory. Just when you are dealing with the product, then only we need inventory. So in case of the operating unit is going to provide some services, so we don't need any operating unit, inventory operation. Take example. So you are doing your business operations in Pune. Purely you are providing some consulting services. You have a resource and you will be outsourcing. That's it. You are not dealing with any products. So in that case, you don't find any inventory. You don't require any inventory. But in the system point of view, even if you don't have inventory, you have to create inventory. That in this case will be creating the dummy one. No inventory, you can create the dummy inventory just to specify. As per system process, you should specify for each and every operating net is connected with which inventory organization. It's a mandatory for every inventory operating net. Inventory organization is mandatory. We have to specify. Reality, if you don't have any inventory for specific operating net, at least you should create the dummy inventory to specify there is no inventory for specific operating net. And if you take Mumbai here, so to support this Mumbai business operations, say you have two inventories. Okay, you have a two inventory organizations, and those you can just name as, so Mumbai INV1 and Mumbai INV2. Okay, this is how just you can simply represent. So based on that example, this is how the multi-org structure looks like. Okay, here even if you look at this, data is classified, data is segregated, all the levels. Okay, so here I'll say this is, sorry, okay, this is a business unit where we'll maintain the employee information. Then this talks about ledgers. Whatever ledgers we have, one or multiple, all will be maintained separately. This is another layer of data, and this is your legal entities data, which will be maintained separately. And this is your operating units data. And this is your warehouse management related data. And again, so these are the different classifications of data we have, and complete information maintained and segregated and maintained separately. Now we take an example for India. In the same way, if client is going to run the business in 10 countries, for each country, by looking at how they are running the business, how many ledgers they require, how many legal entities they require in the specific country, and how many operating units they have under specific registration, and under particular operating unit, how many inventory organizations we have. This is how we'll be creating. Okay, this is just for India. In the same way, say client is running the business in 5 countries. In that case, the same way we'll be creating the 5 multi-org structures. 5 multi-org structures. So even client is running the business in the 5 countries. The 5 countries related multi-org 5 structures we can create in the single instance. Okay, you are not going to maintain the software country wise. Software will be 1. Okay, here the software is going to be 1. So we'll be creating, okay, we'll be creating multi-org structure for different countries. Say for example, this is for India. So this is the India multi-org structure. We'll create here. And say for US, whatever required, we'll be creating in the same instance. Okay, and say they're running the business in UAE, and they're running the business in Singapore. For Singapore, you will create separate multi-org structure, and they're running the business in, say, UK. So in the 5 countries they're running the business. So this is a multi-org structure, say just for understanding I'm giving. So this is for India multi-org structure. This is for USA, So this multi-org structure for UK, this is for UAE, this is for Singapore. So client is running the business in 5 countries, but they no need to maintain the software separately for each and every country. They can take the license from Oracle that they can install, and they can maintain the servers in one location. Say for example, they are going to maintain the servers in specific country. Okay, take example, they are going to maintain the servers in India. Okay, they'll maintain the server in India. They'll maintain the servers in India. Okay, within that server, so they'll be having this software and they'll be creating everything, and the server will be located in one location, and within that server, whatever the software we have as instance, within that will have a different multi-org structures. And from US, okay, the people who are in the US, they'll be accessing. Okay, the people who are in USA and the people who are in India, the people who are in UK and UAE and say Singapore. So where this instance we are going to place, say India on. This is going to be server location is, so for example, India. So the server we have in India, and within the server we have this instance. Within the same instance, we'll be creating the multi-org structure for each and every country. And when US people are going to use the system, they'll be connecting to the same instance from respective country. Okay, they'll be connecting to their country specific multi-org structure related data only. Okay, UK guys will be connecting to same instance, but they will be connecting to the instance. Within the instance, whatever the multi-org structure is created for that country business, and the UAE people will connect to only that UAE multi-org structure. Singapore business will connect to Singapore multi-org structure. India people will connect to India multi-org structure. And between the, see, even if even instance is one, okay, you are able to utilize that instance for multiple countries business with by segregating the data. The India instance is same, but for India multi-org, whatever the data you have, that cannot be accessed by any other country. Okay, in the same way, within the same multi-org, what are the levels you have? If you take example of this India multi-org structure, within this India multi-org structure, so this data will be segregated business group wise, primary ledgers wise, legal entity wise, operating unit wise, and inventory organization wise. The same way, so data will be segregated. Okay, data will be segregated. Sorry. Okay, data will be segregated here. You can just, so it's operating unit wise also. So whatever the data you have, okay, so whatever the data you have within Hyderabad operating unit, the data cannot be accessed by Bangalore. Data will be maintained separately. Not only multi-org structure level security, within that operating unit wise also will have a data security. Everything is going to be in one instance, but we are going to have a enough security. So everything is secured. Everything secured. This inventory data cannot be accessed by or viewed by other inventory. Okay, this is how the data will be secured from one to other. That means within one instance, if you are going to create multiple multi-org structures, between the structures there will be data security, and within the structure, okay, there will be data security between the legal entities, between the operating unit, between the inventory organizations. And all the data, since instance is one, okay, will be stored in one database. For one instance, we have only one database. Okay, database is going to be one. All these 5 countries, multi-org structures, we are going to create in one instance. The total data will be stored in one database only, but logical segregation will be maintained with a very high security. That is the greatness of multi-org structure. Okay, so for multiple countries business, you can map into single instance and all the data can be stored in the single database, but still security can be maintained. Okay, country specific, again within the country what are the multi-org structure you have, within the structure what are the classifications you have, the legal entities level there will be data security, between the operating unit there will be data security. Again, say for example, within this operating unit you have a applications called as APR. Between API and AR applications there will be data security. When we are accessing those applications, responsibility level there will be security, user level there will be security, all the levels will have a great security when you go with this multi-org structure. And now say for example, you want to transfer the data from India to US. You want to transfer the data from India to US. Sorry. You want to transfer the data from India to US, or else say UAE to UK. You want to transfer the data from UAE to UK. Yes, you can do, since these two multi-org structures are available in the same instance. If you are using separate instances for UAE and USA, it would be a very challenging task. Since these multi-org structures are going to be in the one environment, one instance, it would be easy to move the data from UAE to USA depending on the requirement. That related concepts also will be discussing at the time of consolidation. We'll talk about those points. But this is what we have to understand when we talk about multi-org structure. This is the advantage where multiple countries business you can map into the system as a multi-org structure. Different each country, what are the structures you are going to create, all you can create in the single instance with more security. Okay, so any questions here, please? Any questions here to understand?
All we do this implementation as per our client requirement, or like what they advise us. We'll do like we have a business unit like locations, so we will bifurcate like that.
Yes, but the point is we don't advise, we will be advising as a consultant. We'll understand their business, we will advise. That's how we'll finalize the solution.
So basically all these are running, means it's like 1 year old or 5 year old or 6 month old. All data are already there.
No, you tell me what is the main point. Already data is there means what is your question?
My data migration things is there for like they have some data also, because business is running. They have all money finance.
One second. Yeah. So now any implementation you do before they move to this Oracle application or any other ERP, they'll be using some systems. So what we'll do is how they are running the business, based on that we'll create the multi-org structure. What are the data we have in their previous system, that also will be moving here. That job will be done by technical people. What we call how it happens, we'll be discussing as a part of real time. Fine. Don't include that point, ignore it as of now. Just try to understand this element, like how that within the single instance we can maintain the different country related multi-org structures with more security. So when you say multi-org structure, within that the complete the country business related data will be maintained.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Any other questions here, please?
Lakshman, in the above bifurcation that you did for ERP tree India Business Group.
Okay.
You did not depict the virtual organization. Where does that go?
That's what you don't need to include here. That's not required. Which is real, that will be representing. Virtual just will be creating. That will be supporting these real inventories. Okay, that you don't need to address
Okay.
under this. That is just for system requirement, not business requirement. Here we are representing only business requirement.
Okay.
Yep.
Regarding this business group, that's going to be the same for all countries, or it's going to be different naming convention for each country?
See, since it's India, I written India Business Group. If it is USA, you will be writing ARP Tree USA Business Group. For UAE, ARP Tree UAE Business Group. Okay, since the country is specific, the country name you can include in that. If company is doing the business only in one country, there is no need of specifying country name also. So company is doing the business only in India. I don't need to segregate any data with the country specific. So I'll simply say ERP3 business group. That's all. ERP3 primary ledger.
When means firstly, as a consultant, we will discuss with the client. They will told us and we'll design all these things. So as per your experience, what is big challenge means like for designing in this part? What is complexity?
Properly you have to understand. Okay, these points, just these elements only. These elements you have to just get from them whatever we discussed. So in how many countries, how many business, how many registrations, how many locations, how many inventory organization. This data we have to get. Okay, we're done with that. They are telling they are operating the business in 5 locations. So okay, these are the locations. Now the question here is, in Hyderabad, what operations they'll perform? Say they are going to say they'll do the invoicing, they'll do the payment, they'll do the billing, they do the receipt, they do the procurement, they do the receiving. This is what they'll be telling. That means based on this you have to understand, okay, which departments are going to be based out in Hyderabad. In Hyderabad branch, first we'll be understanding which departments. Okay, based on this information you can understand, or else simply you can understand which departments. Say payables department, let's call it as AP, and receivables department AR. This is PO department, and this is inventory department. Okay, each location. So what are the different business functions they are performing? These we can call as business functions. So the business functions will be performed by specific departments. You have to understand in Hyderabad what are the business you are operating, what are the departments you have. That you have to make a note. They'll be giving each department what activities they'll be doing. You will be making a note. Then you can start working with the client saying that, okay, tell me what exactly you are doing in accounts payables department. What are the different type of transactional record? In which scenario what are the different systems you are using as of now? Okay, these all questions will be asking the client. This I'll be covering as a part of real time. Now if I start explaining, it goes in a different way. Okay, real time, what we do, how we approach the client, what sort of questions will be asking, what documents will be preparing, I'll be covering that. Okay, fine.
Yeah, my question was actually, is this system provide us if we miss something during this designing or implementation, but after some time, 1 month or 2 months, we think, oh, we need something more. So it's flexible in the system. We can add after some time, means that point is required. Like that means something we missed during implementation or designing, but we need.
I got your point. See here, when you talk about implementation, it's properly you have to plan. You have to forecast how the changes may come in the business also in future. Okay, so we have to consider all the possible upcoming changes or in enterprise structure, how it is going to be managed, and all these you have to plan and accordingly you have to design. But current how you are running, that exactly you have to represent into the system with your design. So you can design the solution, okay, later any point of time. If you want to extend that solution, you can do it, but there are few cases where there are some limitations. Take best example as a limitation. Now you created your your chart of accounts with 6 segments. In future, if you need 2 more segments, you cannot do it. Simply you cannot go and add. So that is the reason now we have to plan. Even if you need 6 segments, we'll put 2 more segments as a buffer segments additional. In future, if required, those you can use with those segment names. So apart from this, the
Yes, yes.
rest of all can be extended. Say now you are running the business in 5 locations. Say you created 5 operating units. Okay, you just acquired different company that can be added into this process, or that can be created in the same instance as a separate entity and a separate multi-org structure. Or else you are running the business now just in 5 locations and you extended the business for 5 more locations. You can create anytime 5 more operating units, then it will become total 10 operating units. And you got a separate registration for those 5 operating units. In that case, you can create separate legal entity, and you can map the legal entities are running under the operating units are running under which legal entity. These and all you can extend anytime. The companies you can extend, the legal entities you can extend, the operating units, inventory organization, everything. Out of entire implementation, the primary thing which you have to focus is chart of account. Your chart of accounts can decide whether implementation is succeeded or failed. That's it. That much important the chart of account is. Okay, chart of account, you have to be very careful when you are designing and finalizing. You have to make sure that that will help now and in the future. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yes.
Any other questions, please? Fine, done. So no questions. So this is just, you can go with the different examples, and you can assume like how this multi-org structure looks like. Hope you got this point. Any clarity you require, please let me know. Any questions from anyone related to multi-org? Any questions from anyone, please? Okay, so this is all about multi-org, what we have to understand. Now, when it comes to system, the first point what we have to understand is which applications we are going to implement for our client. We have to understand the scope. Scope is nothing but here, which applications we are going to implement for our client. So we just plan to see the P2P and O2C cycles in the system, where our financial modules will be covered with the full scope. So now what we'll do is, let's take simple example. We got the information, okay, saying like as a part of implementation we have to implement few modules. The application you can call as modules. Say we have to implement Oracle General Ledger, okay, GL, okay, Oracle General Ledger, Oracle Accounts Payable, Oracle Accounts Payable, say AP, and Oracle Accounts Receivable, Oracle Accounts Receivable, ER, okay, Oracle Accounts Payables, Oracle General Ledger, Oracle Accounts Payables, Oracle Account Receivables, and Oracle Fixed Assets, FA, say Oracle Cash Management, CM, or say CE, say Oracle Human Resource you can call it as HR or HRMS. HR or HRMS. HRMS means Human Resource Management System. Human Resource Management System. HR includes your employee maintenance, and again you can implement payroll process and other employee related other processes also. So we have to implement Oracle Inventory Application, INV, so Oracle Purchasing, so PO, so Oracle Order Management, OM. Okay, so primarily these are the applications. We'll just go and create the, say simple example. So these are the applications. Okay, so these are the applications we are going to implement for the client. If we are going to implement these applications for the client, what we have to do? So for each and every application, to access any application, what we have to create in the system? To work on any application, what we have to create in the system? Anyone, please? Responsibility. Now the very first point is we have to create the responsibilities for all these applications. Okay, the responsibilities anyone can go and create. We may implement only, you may work for the project only for financial applications, all financial application, or else your responsibility may be working on GL and AP only in your project. But irrespective of you are going to work on which application implementation, simply we have to create responsibilities for all the applications which we are going to implement for the client. So say first point is you identified the scope of implementation. Anyway, before we start with the implementation only, our company will come up with this identification, okay, before they win the project, okay, before they win that bidding and all. So they'll just come to know which modules, which applications we have to implement for the client. Based on our project plan, we'll come to know which applications we have to implement. So based on that information, we have to create the responsibilities. Now we'll take the case as we are going to implement these all applications. So we have to create the responsibilities for all these applications. So when you are working in real time, we'll be using the fresh instance. In case of fresh instance, we'll have one username and password. What is the username we'll have in the fresh instance? Sysadmin. So the first point is, okay, we have to create the responsibilities. To create the responsibilities, you have to access the system as a sysadmin user. So log into fresh instance as sysadmin admin user. That's the first point. Then from where we can create the responsibilities within the system, already we have seen. From where we can create the responsibility?
System admin responsibility.
from system administrator responsibility, or you can say system administrator application also. Okay, from system administrator responsibility you can create. That means, so first you'll log into the system fresh instance as a sysadmin user, then you'll go to system administrator responsibility. From there we'll create the responsibilities. We have to create the responsibilities for all these applications. First step is login as a sysadmin user. When you are working in real time, what are the instance we get from Oracle for your client, you never find any other users like operations or any other users which you are able to see here, because we are using the Vision instance. Within that we have a sample data including sample users. But when you are working in real time, you'll have a user called a sysadmin. That's all. The first step is we have to log into the instance, fresh instance as sysadmin user. Then second step is create required responsibilities. Your required responsibility means which applications you are going to implement for your client. For all the applications you have to create the responsibilities. After creating the responsibilities, okay, third point you can say set profile option. After setting the profile option, as a fourth step you can create user, your own user you can create. As a fifth step, assign, okay, assign all responsibilities to user, and that's how we'll just continue. Okay, there are many steps which we will be executing. We'll go one by one. First we'll complete these steps. So this is a sequence of tasks we'll be performing when we are working in real time. First you have to access the system as a sysadmin user. Then we'll be creating the responsibilities for which modules you are going to do the implementation. Then we'll set profile option, which profile option we'll be discussing. Then we'll create our own user. We'll assign all those responsibility to our user. Any questions here, please?
Hello? Yeah. So you second step to create the required responsibility. So even though we are pertaining to finance particular module, so are we liable to create all the responsibility within the system?
Yes.
Within ISO?
You'll be able to create. It's a simple task. You should be aware of it.
No, I'm not talking about. Yeah, but here is it our responsibility, financial consultant responsibility to create all the responsibility?
That's what. It's a very generic task. It's a very generic task. Okay. So we no need to look at here responsibility. In some implementations, you can see all the responsibilities can be created by SCM consultant, supply chain management consultant. Okay. In other implementation, you can see all will be created by finance consultant. The other implementation you can see all can be created by HRMS consultant, because here you don't need to look at the responsibility, because each responsibility creation, it won't take more than 1 minute. It's only the point you have to consider whether you know how to create it or not. Okay. You are working as finance consultant. You don't know how to create purchasing, inventory, order management. Then you can request, you can inform them, I created finance responsibilities. You please create SCM responsibilities. They'll just think, okay, that is a level of knowledge you have.
Okay.
So anyone can create, but implementation you'll be working on your applications only. So the responsibility is simple task. So when we're working as finance consultant, we'll be taking the responsibility to work on our applications only. Other applications responsibilities we can create, but we cannot implement. Okay, so that is a big task again. That should be done by that relevant consultants only. These modules will be implemented by HRMS consultant. These applications will be implemented by SCM consultant. But all these responsibilities anyone can create who is aware how to create, what menu we have to use, what request group we have to use, what need to be provided as a part of the exact responsibility creation. Okay, fine. So now we'll connect to the instance as a sysadmin user. We'll log into the system as a sysadmin user. From that user, you can connect to responsibility called a system administrator. From system administrator responsibility, you'll be able to create how many responsibilities you required as per your client implementation requirement. Okay, we'll just look into that. Fine. We'll just connect to our instance. Any other questions here, please? Fine. So we have to log into the system as a sysadmin user. Just click on login. Username is sysadmin. Password also by default will get sysadmin only. If it is not working in your case when you are working, just will contact the DBA. Otherwise, you may check with your team members saying that you are trying to log in with the sysadmin user. The password is not working with the same name as sysadmin. Okay, what is the password for this user? You may check with other team members even if they are not aware. Only the point is we'll be checking with a DBA, not with our manager or someone else. Not required. Fine. Done. So since this is a vision instance, you could see many responsibilities are associated with this sysadmin user also. But reality, okay, you'll see very few responsibilities. There will be some technical responsibilities and other responsibilities. So we don't need to worry about all those. Only the point is, first you have to log into the instance as sysadmin user, and for that sysadmin user, you can see system administrator is already associated. You have to go to system administrator responsibility. Just expand this and click on any one of the function. It will open the system administrator responsibility in the form based environment, which you could see everything in the navigator. Just click on any one of the function. Any function you can select. Okay, the first task we completed. We connected as a sysadmin user and we are in system administrator responsibility. What is the second step? We have to create the responsibilities for all the applications. Anyone please tell me what is the seeded menu for GL? Who are preparing, they can answer. What is the seeded menu for GL? So really the preparation, how much time you are spending for this course is really very important. Please.
General Ledger Vision Operation USA.
See, try to understand my question.
Oracle General Ledger.
My question is,
Okay.
what is the seeded menu for GL? We discussed.
Okay. Menu. Fine. Yeah.
Anyone please?
GL super user.
Security.
That's it. That's it. That at least you should
Security.
remember that. Okay. GL super user. At the time of GL responsibility creation, we just used it. Okay. GL super user is menu for GL application. The same way, for all these applications, we'll have a menus. For GL, we have a GL super user. When you see that creation, you'll see GL underscore super user, but we don't call as GL underscore super user. Simply we'll say GL super user. That is a name. Instead of giving the space between GL super user, they just filled with a gap with the underscore so that would be having some readability. Otherwise, so if you write like this, you may understand, but somebody as the first time if they are going to see, they cannot read it. So GL super user. So what we can have within the GL super user? What we have within the GL super user? Anyone?
GL responsibility.
See, my just question is within the GL super user what we have. This is a menu.
Submenu,
Yeah,
submenus we have and function.
that's it. That's it. We have submenus and functions. So what we have in the GL super user means we have all the GL related features which are managed by submenus. We discussed as a function. The same way, so what are the features Oracle developed for Oracle General Ledger application? Those all they are giving within this GL super user. The same way when you are going to work on Oracle Accounts Payables application, for the payables also they created one menu. For receivables also they created a menu. If you just look at payables menu, within the payables menu will have all the submenus and functions. Finally you will find all the payables features within the payables menu. For each and every application, Oracle is providing one menu which consists of that application related functionalities or features. So those only we call as seeded menus. So for GL, the seeded menu already we have seen that is GL super user at the time of responsibility creation. Okay, so see, one point is here, to be frank, you should be able to answer, okay, whatever we discussed in the previous sessions. If I'm asking some question now, if you are able to answer, that's really good. If you are not able to answer, if you are able to understand the sessions, that's totally different. Okay, because day by day we'll be keep adding a lot of information related to this learning. So if you are not ready with the prior information, whatever we covered, it will be big challenge also to understand what I'm going to explain. Whatever I speak, that will have some connectivity with the prior discussions most of the time. So if you are not preparing, but if you are attending regular sessions, every session you are attending, if you don't have a proper preparation, means what are the points we are discussing, you have to read multiple times till you remember. If somebody is going to ask you the question, immediately you should be able to answer. Up to that level, you should get ready with this information. The same way system also. Okay, if I ask you the navigation, what is the navigation to create the segment values? Anyone can answer to this question, please. What is the navigation to create the segment values?
Is set up financial financial flex field key and segment, then segment value.
No. Segment value is not. Set up financial flex field key values.
Okay.
So who tried? That's really great. But if you are able to give the exact answer, that will help you a lot. Okay. Just only the point what I'm trying to highlight is spend more time. What are the points we are discussing now? Read it multiple times. In the same way, the system practice also try to do multiple times. As a part of this course, just I'll be creating only one definition, but for your practice, you may create 2-3 primary ledgers, 2-3 calendars, 2-3 chart of accounts, 2-3 primary ledgers, 2-3 legal entities, 2-3 responsibilities, 2-3 users. Then you will get some command on that system related process. And remember each and every navigation which you are following. Okay, just you should remember everything. Theoretically what we are discussing and practically what we are doing in the system. You should make a note and you have to read and you have to remember and you should be able to explain. If you know everything, if you are just lacking with the presentation, again that will become issue. You should be able to explain. So that sort of preparation is required for this. Okay, anyway, done. So for each application, Oracle is providing the separate menus. Those we call as seeded menus. So now we'll go and create the responsibilities for all these applications. Okay, fine. So we'll go one by one. We'll follow this sequence. Okay, any questions, please? Okay, before we start with this activity or say task, responsibilities creation for all the applications. All means your few, whatever we listed. Any questions from anyone, please? Fine, seems no questions. We can start with this responsibilities creation. What is the navigation to create the responsibility?
Security responsibility
Security
defined.
responsibility defined.
That's all. Security responsibility defined. So navigation is security responsibility defined. Take this navigation and we'll create all the responsibilities whatever we require. So here we'll go with the name called as cloud. I'll use the company name as a cloud. So whatever we are going to create, we'll use the prefix as a cloud. So first we'll create GL responsibility. I'll just take the name as cloud general ledger. So when we are creating the responsibility with the seeded menu, which will have a access to complete functionality of particular mod application, the name you can represent as a manager or you can represent as a super user. Normally the manager, for managers, whatever the responsibilities we create will be just naming as a super user responsibility. Super user responsibility means which responsibility has complete access to particular application. Now when we are working as implementation consultants for any client, we need responsibility which will have a full privileges to the entire application related functionality. For that reason, we'll be creating the responsibility with a full access. When you have a responsibility with full access, simply you can name it as super user responsibility or manager responsibility. We don't write as a consultant responsibility. Okay, cloud general ledger super user. Okay, I'm just giving the name as cloud general ledger super user. I'm taking the cloud as a company name. Application general ledger, just you can type tab out, it will fetch. Responsibility key, I'll say cloud.
I'm sorry to disturb you.
Yeah, please.
Already we created EBS ERP general ledger manager, right?
Yes.
Again we are creating now. Why?
So that just for our understanding we created. Now we are following the actual process. Okay, how the implementation takes place.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. That ignore it. Ignore. Just already we gone through the process. We got some information. So just it's all about introducing how things happens, responsibility creation, user, journal creation, calendar, chart of accounts, primary ledger, legal entities. Now we are starting with the actual process. That's what just we discussed. First we'll understand the business requirements, how many we have to create. This is the first step. In the fresh instance, when you are working, this is the process we'll be following. Not what earlier we followed, the sequence, but activities will be same. Okay. This would be the first step.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, when you do the implementation.
Oh, thank you.
So responsibility key I'm giving as cloud GL. It's nothing but short name. And here data group. Okay, data group. I'll do one thing. So we'll try to understand the relation between this menu, data group and the request group. So we'll just find out. We'll create our own responsibilities for all these applications. Before that, we'll just look at what are the responsibility we created and what purpose we given data group, menu, request group. I'll just talk on that. So that we'll get some understanding what and how those logic will work. And then for all the responsibilities, why we are giving that information, we'll have a understanding on that. So we created this responsibility. Here we given which details. Sorry. Here we given menu name, right? Okay, menu we given and data group. Data group we given, request group we given. Okay, what is the use of menu? Menu consists of submenus. Within submenus we'll have a functions. So to work on any application, okay, through responsibility, okay, to have access to specific functionality will be given the menu. Okay, response here, menu means menu consists of application access. Those functions can be organized with submenus, or those can be direct functions. So through menu we'll get access to application. Means simply you can say forms. Here form means you can say journal creation can be done through one form. So multiple forms access can be available within the menu. Okay. So we are giving the menu in our responsibility. When you provide the menu within the responsibility, through that menu you can have access to, okay, you can have access to specific forms. Within those forms you will enter some data. Where the data has to be stored. See here, whatever the database Oracle is providing, that we call as Oracle standard database. Standard database. Within the database there will be segregation to maintain the data. Within the database we'll have a segregation to maintain. AP data will be maintained separately. AR data, CM data, FA data, GL data, PO data, OM data, okay, HRMS data, and inventory data. This is how within the standard database, within the standard database will be having some segregation, and there will maintain the data. Technically that we call as a schema. Okay, within the database we'll have a schemas. Each schema will represent particular application. So for AP we'll have AP schema. So AP data will be stored within that AP schema only. So now by using menu we'll have access to forms. So when enter the data in the form, that has to be stored in the database or not. Yes, we have to store, otherwise there is no use of entering the data into form. So when we enter the data into forms with the help of menu, which is there in the responsibility, the data need to be stored in the database. The data should be stored in which database? That you have to specify here. We are giving the specification. By using this menu, if somebody is going to record any transactions or anything they are going to enter in the system through this responsibility, whenever you go to this responsibility, within this menu, whatever you have, this responsibility navigator you can see. By using any one of the form which is available within this menu, if you enter some data, the data has to be stored in the which database? Standard database. Within the standard database, in which schema that data has to be stored? In general ledger. Why we are selecting general ledger? Responsibility we are creating for general ledger, and this menu is related to general ledger. So GL data should be stored within the standard database, the data area which is allocated for general ledger. Okay, that means it's all about through menu we are giving access to forms. With the data group we are specifying through the forms whatever the data user is going to enter, that has to be stored in which database? Again within that standard database, in which areas of the application that has to be stored. What menu you are giving? The menu belongs to GL, so the data group application name also will be giving as a general ledger. So that's the meaning of menu under data group. Okay, with the menu you can enter the data into system with the help of responsibility, and the data group is nothing but the specification of where the data need to be stored. So that here standard means that is a data group name. Technically speaking, data group is related to database only. Here for a functional point of view, simply you can say data group always represents database name. Here standard database. Okay, so when you enter the data by using the menu, it's a mandatory you have to store the data in the database, otherwise no use. That is the reason the menu and data group are mandatory. Okay, by using the menu you are entering the data that will go and store in this database. Whatever the data is getting stored in the database, if you want to see the data by running the reports, we'll use the request group. Within the request group we'll have a reports. Within the menu, we'll have a forms data group to specify the database. In which database the data has to be stored. Request group consists of reports. Reports under some programs also. So we created calendar, and when we were trying to close, system was triggering some request. All those requests will be part of the request group only. Okay. Now through menu, whatever within the responsibility, what are the menu we are giving, within that menu what we have, we were able to see that. And data group we don't see, just it's all about specification. Request group reports, we'll just look into these points one by one. Okay, so menu is GL super user, data group is GL concurrent program group, data group is standard we given. Okay, now I'll go to this responsibility. Okay, I'll just close this. Okay, just click on this responsibility, just expand this, click on any one of the function. So within this navigator, we are able to see the journals, budgets, inquiry, currency, consolidation reports, setups, others. If you expand any one of the submenus, there are many other submenus and functions. These all we are getting from where? How we are getting into this responsibility? How we are getting? Hope you can hear me.
Menu is attached to the responsibility.
Yes. What are the menus available within this EBS, ERP tree, General Ledger Manager? Within that menu, how many submenus we have? Within the submenus, how many functions we have? All we are able to see. So if I create responsibility without menu, can we see anything here?
No.
No. Before that, you cannot create because menu is mandatory. When we are creating the responsibility, menu is mandatory. Without menu, you cannot create any responsibility. Even if you create, there is no use. But of course, we cannot create, but just I'm taking the case for our discussion. So when you are creating the responsibility, the primary purpose is to access application related functionality, which is grouped and maintained in the form of submenus under main menu. For general ledger application, main menu is GL super user, which is seeded menu, which is provided by Oracle. Fine. So within the same responsibility, we given the request group name, right? Okay, we given the request group name. What is the request group name for general ledger responsibility we given?
GL concurrent group, program group.
GL concurrent program group. What it consists of? Reports. Okay. So that GL concurrent program group we selected for this responsibility only, right? That means from this responsibility, we should be able to see what are the reports and programs we have within that responsibility. Okay. So how to see? Go to SRS window. What is the navigation?
View request find.
View request find. View request find. Fine. So if you want to see which reports and programs we have as a part of this GL concurrent program group request group, which is assigned to this responsibility, you have to click on submit a new request. Click on this. Just say okay. You don't need to change anything. These points will be understanding what is the request, single request or request set. Just for now, what you can do is take the navigation, click on submit a new request, then say okay. Just click on LOV. So whatever the reports and programs we have within that request group, all you will be able to see here. See how many we have, many we have. Can we go and remove the request group from the responsibility? Can we go and remove the request group from the
Yes.
responsibility? Why?
Yes, we can.
Yes, it is not mandatory.
It's not
It is not
mandatory.
mandatory.
So now we'll go on to remove it. Why menu undo request? Why menu undo data group are mandatory and request group is optional? Menu undo.
Because
Yeah.
a responsibility may or may not contain. Yeah, a responsibility may or may not contain the reports or programs. But every key in information should go into a database. So data group is mandatory.
That's it. That is the point. So whatever you enter, that has to be stored. That is the reason to enter menu is required. To store the database specific is required. But who are creating the transaction, they may not require to run the reports. They may not have a responsibility in the company to generate the reports. If the same user who has access to specific responsibility, if they need access to reports, will provide the request group, otherwise will remove. Which users require access to reports? For those users related responsibilities only will provide the request group. We'll go to system administrator. Just close it. So now go to our responsibility, security, responsibility, define. So click on find EBS ARPT General Ledger Manager. I'm going to remove this. Okay, now we'll just go on to access our responsibility. I'll just sign out from this user. Username is EBS ARPT. So menu we have as is, so you can see everything how we were able to see earlier. Now you can go to SRS window also, but it would be empty. Click on LOV, nothing. List of values contains no entries. Okay. Okay, now what are the menu undo request group we are discussing? We'll go and open that menu and request group. We'll see what exactly it consists of directly. Okay. So I'll be covering how to create the custom menu, custom request group going forward. For now, just try to understand. Okay. How to verify in specific menu what are the submenus and functions we have, and in specific request group what are the reports and programs we have. Okay, we'll see that. Close this. So when you are working in the real time, you don't find operations user, so always will log in as a sysadmin user till you go and create your own user. Go to system administrator responsibility. Just open that responsibility by clicking on any one of the function. Fine. Now say we want to see within GL super user whatever we discussed. Because of GL super user menu only we are able to see all the submenus and functions from the particular responsibility. We need clarification on that. We want to see the proof. So if you want to check what submenus and functions we have in the particular menu, take this navigation from the system administrator. Okay, take this navigation. We are going to verify that menu. We are going to check that. So go to application and the function name is menu. From system administrator, you can just look into specific menu, what menu consists of. Directly you can see from here. Application menu. So what is our menu? We are talking about GL super user. Just if you know the name, you can go with the query mode and you can type the name and you can execute, or else the simple process is click on find GL underscore super user. Here you can type that GL underscore super user. Search the first one, right? Select. See, now you can see inside of GL super user what we have, we are able to see here. Within the GL super user what we have, this is what the prompts only we were able to see from the navigator. Journals, budgets, inquiry, currency, consolidation, reports, and all. So these are we are calling as submenus. These are the actual submenus. For that, this is a display name given. Okay. If you expand GL setups, it will display many submenus, right? Again, this is one submenu. If you expand this, it will open many submenus. Now here, you can go with this submenu. Here you can select this submenu here. Within the submenu, what are the other submenus and functions we have, you will be able to see. Okay, within this, we have all these submenus. I want to open this setup submenu. I want to open the setup submenu. So if I want to open this setup submenu, what I'll do is I'll copy this name. I'll click on find. I'll search for that. GL SU means submenu setup. Select it. Within that, what we have, you can see. Okay, when you just click on setup, it shows financials, right? When you expand financials, it shows other options. Those, if you want to see within this submenu, those will be available. You copy this. And again, just place cursor here. And you can search with that name. Inside of that financials, what we have, you can see. We'll have a flex fields and calendars and all. Again, if you expand, this is submenu. If you expand that within the flex field, you'll have a key, segment, values, all those, right? So that's how you can see. So this is how you can verify in particular menu what submenus we have within the submenu, what other submenus or functions we have. Any questions here, please? When you do the implementation, we have to create many menus which we call as custom menus. So whatever Oracle is providing, that will have access to all the functions, all the features of particular application. But when you talk about users, say for example you implemented payables. In payables, say there are 20 users who are going to work on the payables process. So 5 users required access to only invoicing process, 5 users for payment, 3 users for invoice and payment, and 2 users only for supplier creation. Okay, this is how you will be having the different requirements. Whatever Oracle is providing the menu for payables, if you are going to use, that will give access to everything. But as per user requirement, we have to create the menus. Those menus will be using in our responsibility. That's how we'll be creating. That anyway we will be covering after some time when we are working on payables. I'll go with that case and we'll be executing in the system. We'll create separate menus and responsibility will be including those custom menus. What are the new menus we create, those we call as custom menus. So we'll be discussing those points. Any questions here, please? Okay. This GL super user menu consists of all these submenus. Any questions here, please? Fine, no questions. So now we'll look at the request group also. So the request group we are using GL concurrent program group. So if you want to verify in specific request group what are the reports we have, you can see with this navigation. The navigation from the system administrator is security, responsibility, request. So from here you can look into what are the reports and programs we have as a part of request group. Navigation is security, responsibility, request. Okay, here you can provide the request group name. Just you can find out. Click on search. Just provide the name. What we are using, GL concurrent. I'll give percentage. System will fetch it. Search the first one. See, the same GL concurrent program group consists of all these programs. Okay. The program can be, so when you say program, the program can be related to report or just it may have certain process to just related to data. Simple point you can take as of now, report. Going forward you can understand the programs also, what is the purpose, all you will be understanding. Okay, request group consists of reports, you can say simply. So these all are the reports. So many reports we have. Say for example we have one user will be working on GL. For that user we need only 5 reports. So in that case what we'll do, we'll create the separate request group. Separate request group that also will be covering as a part of payables. When you're working on payables, I'll go with these cases. You can understand how to create our own request group and how to take into the process. You will be able to understand. Okay. So this is how just you can verify the menus and request groups, what those consist of. And as per our requirement, we'll be creating our own menus and request groups and responsibilities. Any questions on this, please? Fine, no questions. So,
Excuse me.
yep.
When you are creating responsibility, on the time, we should give the request group. It is a mandatory or not?
You tell me, like mandatory or not?
Yeah, so that's why I just want to confirm whether it is.
Just complete the task.
It seems to be. It is.
Checking with you, it's a mandatory or optional?
It's a mandatory, but
mandatory.
there is a yellow column. It is not showing.
That's what, it's not mandatory. Yellow color field is not yellow color. The meaning is optional.
Okay.
Right. That's what we discussed. The very beginning sessions at the time of period type creation. The field is in yellow color.
Yeah, okay.
That is a mandatory field. White color optional. That is the reason we were able to remove also, right? In the current responsibility, we don't have a request group. For our testing and understanding, the same I did, right? I just removed it. When you go to the SRS window, you are not able to see any reports. Reason, no request group is associated with our responsibility. Fine. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So now we'll go and create the responsibilities. It won't take much time. Just 5 to 10 minutes we'll be able to create all those responsibilities. Just we'll complete this and we'll wind up the session for today. Fine. So navigation is security, responsibility, define. So responsible name I'll give as a just cloud general ledger super user. You can write as super user, since this responsibility will have full access for GL application. So this responsibility we are creating against which application? General ledger. Responsibility key, always key enter in the uppercase. Cloud underscore GL. Here, what is the menu name for GL? Seeded menu. GL super user. And this menu related data should be stored in which database? Standard. Within the standard database, in which schema, or say in which application? General ledger only, because general ledger related data should be stored in the database, the area which is allocated for general ledger only. Request group is optional, you can save it. Not required if you don't want any access to reports. If you think you need access, you can specify, but for our understanding, we'll provide the request group also for all the responsibilities. GL concurrent. Just type this and tab out, it will fetch automatically. The first one. Okay, what are the menu exclusions and all will going forward will be understanding. So just let's see how to create the responsibility. We created this. Okay, and these also just you don't need to focus on that. However, we are just creating. That's it. We'll talk on this. Oracle application, self-service web application, mobile application. We'll talk on that. Okay. Then we create a responsibility for GL by following the same process by using the respective menu under request group. We'll be creating the responsibility for remaining applications. Just 5 minutes we can finish. Okay, now to create the new responsibility, okay, click on new. Already we saved this responsibility definition. Now just click on new. Here we can give the name as cloud accounts payable super user. Application is we are creating this responsibility to have access to payables. Select payables. Responsibility key is a short name for responsibility, cloud API call. So for any responsibility, data group name will be same. So any responsibility related data should be stored in standard database only. Here there won't be any change. For all responsibility standard, and the responsibility you are creating for which application, that application name you can select. It's for payables. And for GL we have a seeded menu called as GL super user. In the same way, for each and every application, Oracle is providing the seeded menu. For payables application, the seeded menu which Oracle provides is API navigate GUI 12. API underscore navigate GUI 12. Just tab out, it will fetch automatically. Okay, it's not taking. Navigate GUI 12. Navigate underscore GUI 12. So this menu consists of all AP related features. Okay, for accounts payables related all the reports we have in the request group called as all reports. There is a request group called as all reports. Within that we'll have all AP related reports. Just tab out. The same name we have for many applications, but we'll be selecting this is for payables. All reports for which application? Payables, right? You select request group name is all reports, but that is for payables. You select this combination. So then system will select which request group consists of all the reports related to payables. It will select. How we are creating the payables responsibility? We are giving the responsible name, application as payables, provide short name. Data group is same for all the responsibilities, standard only. Based on the responsibility, you can provide the application name. For every application, we have a separate seeded menu. For payables, we have a seeded menu called as API navigate GUI 12, and request group for payables is all reports. Application is payables, since that is for payables. Just save it. You should remember all the menus and request groups. Okay. So tomorrow, if there is some question, what is the menu for AP? You should be able to answer. AP navigate GUI 12. Fine. We'll create for receivables. Place cursor in the responsible name field. Then click on new. You can say cloud accounts receivable. Super user. Application name is receivables. Responsibility key is a cloud AR. Sorry. Data group is always standard. Responsibility for receivables. Menu is AR navigate. Okay, AR navigate GUI. GUI stands for graphical user interface. Whatever you see, that is because of graphical user interface. That means it will give the access to AR related forms. Okay, for receivables, request group name is receivables all. Receivables all. This consists of all receivables related reports. Okay, just make a note. Everything remains same. Only menu under request group will keep changing based on the responsibility we are creating for specific application. Just save it. Okay, menu name is AR navigate GUI. Request group name is receivables all. Fine. Then just click on new. We'll create the responsibility for cash management. Say cloud cash management super user. Application is cash management. Responsibility key is cloud CMR. You can say CE. Data group name is standard. Application name is cash management. So here menu name. So already discussed just here CM means cash management, but we have separate application called as cost management also. In case of cost management also we have to take the same short name as the CM. So for that reason, for cash management menu name they given as a CE. Let us place cursor. CE underscore super user. So for cash management, to have access to cash management related functionality, so we have a CE super user. This consists of all CM related features. Request group is all reports only. All reports for which application that you have to select. Cash management. All reports. Application is cash management. Select it. Then save it. Now just place cursor here. Okay. Menu is CE super user and request group is all reports only. But you should notice all reports we given for AP also, but for AP we selected payables. For all reports for cash management we selected cash management combination. Fine. Just place the cursor in the response name field and click on new. Now we'll create for fixed assets. Cloud fixed assets. Super user. The application name is assets. Nothing but fixed assets. Responsibility is cloud FA. Data group is standard. Application is assets. To have access to entire fixed assets functionality which is developed by Oracle, so you have a menu called as FA main. And request group is all reports. All reports, application is assets. Now we create a responsibility for our finance. Now we'll go with other applications. We'll create the responsibility for HRMS. Just click on new. Cloud human resources. Super user. Application is human resources. Because this responsibility we require to create the employees. When we are working on these processes, we require employees information. Okay, in fact, the business group, operating units, inventory organization, everything will be able to create from this responsibility only. That means from this application only. Fine. So responsibility key is cloud. You can say HR or HRMS. Data group is standard. Application is human resource. and menu. So menu you can take here HR. You can go with a India. For every country, okay, they will be providing the separate menu that you can select. India HR HRMS Navigator. Okay, and here request group also, say IN HRMS reports and processes. This is the request group which you have to use for HRMS application. So since we are going to go with the case for India, we are going to take example everything for India operations. So I'm selecting India related only. Here IN means India. If you are going to do for US, here you can go with the US. Here it would be like US and HRMS Navigator. And you have a common navigator also which can be used for any country, but there won't be any country specification. But in our case, we are not going to do HRMS implementation. So you can just select this India or some other HRMS navigator, which is a very generic one. But anyway, we are going with India. So let's select India HRMS. If it is US, you can select here US HRMS navigator. Here also it would be US HRMS reports and processes. That's all. Save it. Place cursor here, then click on new. We will create the responsibility for inventory. Say cloud inventory super user. Application is inventory. Responsibility key is cloud INV. Data group is standard. Application is inventory. And menu name here INV navigate. Okay, INV navigate. And request group is, so here we'll have a all inclusive all. We'll have with inclusive term. So all inclusive GUI. Okay, this consists of all inventory related reports. Okay, just make a note all these points. So primarily menu name and request group. Rest all will remain same depending on for which application we are creating responsibility. Accordingly, we will provide the naming convention. Okay, fine. We created responsibility for inventory. Now we'll create for purchasing. Just select, place cursor in the responsibility name field and click on new. Then say cloud purchasing super user. Application is purchasing. So cloud PO purchasing. This will represent in the short name as a PO. Standard menu, standard database, nothing but data group. Application is purchasing. And here menu name purchasing. Just you can search with the purchasing, you can find. Okay, purchasing super user GUI. This is a seeded menu for purchasing, which will consist of all the features. Request group is all reports only. All reports for purchasing. Okay, create it. Save it. Okay, just you have to remember menu and request group. Purchasing super user GUI. Request group name is all reports. I'll just place the cursor, click on new. Now we'll create for order management. So cloud order management super user. Application is order management. Responsibility key is cloud OM. Okay, so data group name is standard. The application is order management. and the menu name is, it's like ADS OM super menu. So here the ADS they given because order management got connected with many processes, advanced pricing, distribution, supply chain management, all these processes will be managed, will get connected with OM. Through OM we have many functions, so they're given the naming convention like that. So just remember and select it. And here request group, to have access to OM related reports, we have request group, which starts with the OM concurrent programs. Save it. That's all. We created all required responsibilities. Any questions, please? Any questions from anyone, please? Okay, just we completed first step, that's all. So when we are a part of implementation, when you get instance access, you have to log in as a sysadmin user, and you have to create all the responsibilities for which application you are going to implement as per your client business requirement. So these applications we are going to implement. So for that, for each application we created separate responsibility. Okay, this we completed. In the next session we'll see what are the profile option we have to set, and user creation, assigning all the responsibility to that user. The rest will go with the multi-org related definitions. Business group creation or primary ledger creation, legal entity creation, operating units, inventory organizations. Okay, all will create in the sequence by just will discuss and will create wherever some further understanding is required. We'll discuss and we'll be working on. So any questions based on today's session or previous sessions, please. But one point is very important, you have to spend time. You may be busy, but if you are not going to spend, just if you are going to attend the sessions, you don't get any advantage out of this. You have to spend enough time. So you have to practice multiple times. Whatever we are discussing, you have to read and remember. That's very, very important. So any questions from anyone, please?
Actually, I have some problem with accessing instance. I need some means technical guys. They can advise me. Actually, it's working from my home, but in my office, some problem with LAN connection, right? It was just accessing my LAN, but it will move to go in net. So I means need some technical help. How can I
You cannot do
bypass
that. You cannot
my
do that. I think in your company they have their local network and they will have certain restrictions.
Actually, I have my admin. I was talking. We will do all possible things. We'll Google do you, but actually, I was failed. So if
Listen,
your guys know,
we talk on that.
they can advise.
From our side, nothing. There is no point to work on it. So we given the access. So from which network, okay, which the company network or your private network, from where you are accessing, that we have to get privileges where any system can be accessed from that network. That's it. If it's a restriction from your company, normally they don't allow you. Okay. Right. So we given access. It's a public access. In your company, if they have certain restrictions not to allow that, from our side we cannot do anything. Okay. Generally, even if you request, they don't do it. Generally, if you have some option, you may try with that. But from our side, there is no option to do anything. We given full access. Wherever no restrictions, from there you can access. If from your end, if some restrictions, that you have to get clear with the people who can help you on that. Fine. Any other questions, please? So if no questions, that's all for today. We'll connect tomorrow same time and we'll continue from here. Okay, thank you all. Have a good day and good night.